All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. This is the brother Kratazah from the GMS Nebraska camp, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled, We Wrestle Not Against Flesh and Blood. All right. So I want to get into this story in Tobit, the third chapter, about the demon Asmodeus. All right, Lord, what is the edifying lesson? So this is Tobit chapter 3, starting at verse 7. It says, And it came to pass that same day that in Ecbatane, a city of Media, Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, was also reproached by her father's maids, because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus the evil spirit had killed, before they had lain with her. Dost thou not know, they say, that thou hast strangled thy husbands, and that thou hast had already 7 husbands, neither was thou named after any of them. So Sarah's being really haunted, being burdened by this evil spirit Asmodeus. Okay, to the point where her father's maids are teasing her about her husband's dying before they even lay with each other. Now let's just get a little background information on Asmodeus. It says Asmodeus is a demon, often referred to as the king of demons in Jewish and Christian folklore and mythology. It says he is known for his association with the sin of lust and his role in the book of Tobit, where he is depicted as the antagonist. Right? So now the scripture doesn't say why Asmodeus was plaguing Sarah. Now the demon could have an affinity for her, had a lust for her. It is the demon of lust. So maybe he wanted Sarah for himself. Maybe Sarah was just, that bad that men wanted her, and he was using her to get to men. It doesn't say all of that. We just know that Asmodeus was plaguing her, right? So she had a whole demon that was, around her, actively. And if not in those times, why not in these times when uh, evil has increased in the world? So a lot of times we'll have a demon just rotating around us, and we can't feed into demons, especially not Asmodeus. Okay, now a lot of these things I'm saying in this video, I'm speaking to me myself first, because as we said, Asmodeus, he's the demon of lust. All right, and having that strong desire from women is something that all men struggle with. But me myself personally, that's something that I struggle with. You gotta get off of threads and get off of Instagram, because all you see is booty popping, and it's crazy, these days. But let's get this. Ephesians 6:12, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So because we're not wrestling against, another man. All right. The demon Asmodeus, the demon Satan, they're real, and they will plague you. All right. And they will plague on your desires, your lusts. They can't attack you in an area that you're strong in. Right. If you've never smoked a cigarette in your life, they can't get you to want to smoke a cigarette. But if you like beautiful women, they can entice you with beautiful women. All right. If you like a certain type of woman, maybe you like short women, maybe you like tall women, maybe you like a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Just joking, but Satan is send one your way. And like I said, these demons they'll tag along with you all the day long, whispering in your ear. Look at her. Look at her. She got a fat booty, don't she? You don't know if she got a man, a husband, or nothing. How do I know this? Because this is something, like I said, that I've struggled with. And a lot of times you'll continue to struggle with it. You may beat it, but it's just like they tell people in those AA meetings, like an alcoholic or whatnot. You'll always be an alcoholic. Just because you ain't drinking 20 years, doesn't mean that you can rest up now and have a sip. Because you'll end up falling off the wagon. And dealing with a lustful demon, you can't fall off the wagon. Because their grasp is strong. All right, as a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. This is Matthew 12 and 43. It says, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Right? So when you purge a demon out of you, okay, that demon's going to go and try to find another host. It says, verse 44, then he saith, I will return to my house whence I came out, and when he is come, he findeth it empty and swept and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be unto this wicked generation. So that's why you'll find it hard. Like if say you overcome something. Say I don't know, like you're not eating junk food. You don't eat no junk food. You've been going good cold turkey for 2 months. You ain't ate nothing, and then you say, "Oh well, I guess I could have just one honey bun." And next thing you know, you're ripping through the whole box. That's because those 7 other demons. That's an example of those 7 other demons, jumping on and piling on. That's how it works because you were strong enough to get rid of the one, and the one's gonna want to stay in, and be. He wants you to host him. Let's look up that word host. It says a person who receives a guest. You're receiving the demon as a guest, especially for pay. Guest, host, hostess, landlord, a guest, a stranger, a sojourner, a visitor. Right. So yeah, that demon is being a visitor within your body. All right. It's um you receive it as a guest. He's just parlaying, you know, checking out the lay of the landscape, making his bed within your mind, just having a good old jolly time at your expense. All right, but when you purge him out and you kick him the fuck out, he's gonna come back, and you're gonna be tempted. Those are those temptations. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. First Corinthians chapter 10 and 13, it says, there have no temptation taking you, but such is as common to man, but the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So yeah, those demons are gonna come back stronger, and those cravings, those temptations, those urges are gonna come back stronger. And you're gonna want to fall back into whatever you've been doing, but you have to fight it. Okay, confide in a brother. That you have a good relationship, that you trust, that you guys can, that you feel like you're comfortable enough to be that vulnerable with. Hey, and let that brother know. And then uh, make each other accountable. Make have him make you accountable. well, hey, bro, you know, I, I've been trying to get away from these this fast food, but it should be calling my name. This is day one that I'm not gonna have no fast food. So call me, check on me, make sure I ain't eating no fast food, and I'm gonna avoid the fast food. And I'm gonna let you know, and that'll help. That'll help because the scriptures say when two or three are gathered, there he is in the midst. So now you're using the Lord to combat Satan, to combat Asmodeus, to combat these demons and evil spirits. This shit ain't no joke. It's not no game. And it's hard. It's tough. You got to fight that primal urge, the carnal part of yourself, the fleshly part of yourself. This is Colossians 3 and 5. It says, mortify therefore your members, right? Kill it. Mort meaning death, right? A mortgage is a death note. A morgue is where you take the dead. So to mortify means to kill off. Therefore, your members, which are upon the earth, right? It's not saying to literally kill yourself or to chop off your Johnson to pluck out your eyes, but it's saying, man, to be strong, to kill those lusts. It says fornication, which is illegal sex, could be threesomes, could be adultery, just things, having sex with someone that you're not supposed to be having sex with, uncleanness, inordinate affection, and evil concupiscence. That's that lust, man. God damn, she had a fat booty, and it'd be tough, but she might be married or talking to an ex, and now she's in another relationship. All these things are situations that come up, and you have to be strong. And it says, in covetousness, which is idolatry, for which things say the wrath of the Most High coming from the children of disobedience, because you don't want to feel the wrath of the Most High, especially not behind a woman or behind something trivial that that you could have beat, man. Let's just grab this first Ezra's 4:26. It says, yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sake, man. A lot of men have failed because of women. King David failed. It's like, not King David, but King David too. I was referencing King Solomon, but King David, he committed adultery as well. So you don't have no bigger examples that I can give you than King David and King Solomon. Both of them went out of their ways for women. All of us that went out of our ways for women one time or another. But when you get this knowledge, you have to use your past experiences as just that, man. As information for the future, prudence. Hey, man, last time I was around this chick, X, Y, and Z happened, man. I ain't gonna go around her no more. You got to be wise. So we'll get this last scripture. This is as concerning Asmodeus and that lustful demon. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. It says verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have their own husband. Because it's difficult, being a single man, and you sometimes you want a woman, sometimes you don't. You've been heartbroken or burnt, or something went wrong, what I'm saying, in the past, and you don't want to deal with it, but you still be wanting to get some box, or you still be wanting to have that feminine energy around you. It's very difficult, man. You be in between. But you can't let Asmodeus win. You can't let Satan win, and then you start lusting against women that you don't have no business to lust against. So maybe it is best for you to just get a woman, get a partner if you can handle it. You know, says verse 3, it says, let not the husband render unto the wife do benevolence, and likewise let the wife unto the husband. So y'all deal with each other. You go ahead, you knock her off when it's time to knock her off, kick it with her when it's time to kick it with her. Keep the work first and foremost, but y'all give each other the time that is required, for your relationship. You know, it says the wife hath not power over her own body, but the husband. Likewise, also the husband hath not power over his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one another, except to be for consent for, except to be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Right? Because you're not gonna be busting it down every day. Because you have Sabbaths, you have feast days. She has her menstrual cycle, things like that. So, but in the meantime, don't withhold. Don't withhold from her, and now she goes and commits adultery because you ain't because you ain't doing your thing, or vice versa. Now she's mad at you because she ain't letting you get your rocks off. So now you go bust down two, three other chicks. Now she got an attitude with you. So, there has to be a balance there, you know, to keep Satan out, to keep Asmodeus away. Verse 6, it says, but I speak by this permission, that and not of commandment, for I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man has his proper gift of the Most High, one after this matter and another after that. So what Paul is saying, Paul being a eunuch, like, hey man, it would probably be better if you didn't have no woman. But everybody's not that strong. Everybody has their own gifts, like he said. Some people are always in a relationship. Some people are never in a relationship. Some people are on and off. We have different spirits. Verse 8, it says, I say therefore to the unmarried and the widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. Right? It's better to have a woman and to put up with her bullshit, opposed to going off and committing adultery or doing some shit that you shouldn't have done, and now you lose the kingdom behind some pussy, behind some box. All right. So, like I said, I know it's difficult to deal in these situations when you have an Asmodeus, a demon plaguing your life, floating around you. You know, you just have to be temperate. You have to have patience. You have to be strong. You have to be strong-willed. Okay. Hey, and that accountability partner definitely helps as well. So Lord as well, I was edifying, and I help someone, going through something, man, whatever you're going through, you know, you got to be strong. You got to be willing to admit to yourself that, that you have an issue, that you have a problem. And, having an accountability partner definitely goes a long ways. So with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. Shalom.